It all began on a chilly Friday evening. Under the soft glow of the auditorium lights, people were still filing into the venue, an upscale conference center in the heart of the city. The crowd was buzzing, eagerly awaiting the keynote speaker. No one suspected that, in the next few minutes, their assumptions would be shattered, and a powerful truth would rise from the most unexpected place. A woman stood quietly in the back row, adjusting her hijab with care. Her name was Amina Rahman, a young academic and humanitarian. But here, among the sharply dressed professionals, the whispered judgments were louder than her quiet presence. She had only just arrived, carrying a leather satchel, holding her invitation, and wearing a reserved, graceful smile. But as she took a step closer to the front, murmurs began to ripple through the crowd. "That's the problem these days," someone muttered behind her. "Why don't they just stay in their own countries?" A man in a tailored suit turned around, looked Amina up and down, and scoffed. "Go back home," he sneered, loud enough for people to hear. The laughter from a small group followed, coated with entitlement. Amina paused. She didn't flinch, didn't return the gaze. She simply looked forward, toward the stage. What they didn't know was that the keynote speaker they were all waiting for, the woman whose work in refugee education had transformed lives across continents, was her. Yes, the woman they had just tried to diminish was the star of the evening. But let's rewind a bit. Amina Rahman was born in Michigan, raised by two immigrant parents who came to the U.S. with little more than dreams and determination. Her father was an engineer, her mother a high school teacher. From a young age, Amina excelled in academics, but she also carried with her the weight of representing her community. Every test, every debate, every award came with silent pressure. You have to prove you belong. She earned a full scholarship to Columbia, graduated top of her class, and later pursued a PhD in social policy. She wasn't just smart, she was passionate. Her heart was in humanitarian work, helping displaced children gain access to education in war-torn regions. Her hijab wasn't a barrier. It was a symbol of identity and faith she wore with pride. Her work was recognized internationally, yet she still encountered discrimination in everyday life. On the subway, in elevators, even at conferences where she was the expert in the room. This night was no exception. As she made her way toward her reserved seat at the front row, more whispers followed. A few polite smiles veiled skeptical glances. Then, just before the event began, the host took the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "tonight, we are honored to hear from someone whose work has touched thousands across borders. A visionary, a fighter, a proud daughter of this nation." He paused, letting the tension build. "Please welcome Dr. Amina Rahman." Gasps spread like wildfire. All heads turned as Amina rose from her seat and walked toward the stage. The same people who had mocked her now stared in stunned silence. The man who told her to go back home sank into his seat, unable to look her in the eye. She stood at the podium, calm and collected. She looked out into the audience, not with anger, but with grace. "I've been told to go home many times," she began. "Tonight I did. This stage, this city, this country. I was born here. I belong here." Her voice carried strength, but it wasn't just her words. It was her story that spoke volumes. For the next 45 minutes, Amina shared her journey, how her family faced adversity, how she overcame barriers, and how every insult only fueled her commitment to serve others. She spoke about the young Syrian girl who learned to read because of a program Amina had built, about the Afghan refugee who now teaches other women to sew and support their families. By the time she finished, the crowd was on their feet, many with tears in their eyes. Even the man who had insulted her stood, not from guilt alone, but from awe. This was not a lecture. It was a reckoning. Amina didn't just challenge stereotypes, she obliterated them. And when she walked off the stage that night, she wasn't just a speaker. She was a mirror reflecting back the truth of who we are and who we should be. In a world too quick to judge based on looks or labels, stories like Amina's remind us that greatness can wear any face. Before you speak, before you judge, pause. Because the person you dismiss today might just be the one who changes the world tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If this story moved you, like, comment, and subscribe. For more powerful real-life stories, turn on the notification bell so you never miss what's coming next. See you in the next video.